Hi there, welcome to my channel. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing, as all the content on this channel is focused on your well-being. And for those of you who have already subscribed, I appreciate your support. Please check out my website, and we'll love it if you sign up to my newsletter to receive regular updates. Also, check out the resources page on my website where I update any resources that I believe will help you. You can also connect with me on Insta and Facebook. I will leave all the links in the video description below. I appreciate all your support and hope you like this video. Without further delay, let's get to it. Hi everyone. In today's video, we will look at how destructive our ego can be when it gets out of hand for our well-being, and how adversely it can impact our lives. Ego is described in different ways depending on the context it is used in, but in this video we will focus on ego with reference of self-esteem and self-image. I believe there's a difference between having a healthy ego, which is having self-confidence, self-love, and not letting others walk all over us. Today we are talking about the ego that is out of control. As when this gets out of hand, we start to think in terms of putting ourselves in the center of everything around us. We focus our expectations on others, our knowledge being more than others, the need to be always right when we argue with someone else, and so on. We also have a firm notion of how the world should be, how our family should be, what our kids should be like, how others should treat us, and the list goes on and on and on. When our self-importance starts to take control of our lives and our behavior, we start moving on a destructive path that ego can bring. Without removing ego from our lives or getting control over it, we can cause a lot of damage to ourselves and to the people around us. Our ego is by far one of the biggest reasons why we are unhappy, why we ruin our relationships, why we hurt ourselves and others. Ego is completely based on fear. Fear that we are not enough. Someone else might be right. Someone else has more than us. Whenever such situations arise, your ego gets activated and you argue to prove yourself right, or you say something to make yourself feel better. It's important to remember it's the fear of not being enough that drives such behavior. It is also important to remember that what I mean is, while trying to let go of your ego, you don't want to damage your self-confidence and accept anything that comes your way either. You still need to be strong and definitely need to maintain your sense of self-worth, but at the same time, you must let go of your ego. I will go through some of the ways ego can impact us adversely and why letting go is essential for our well-being and happiness. Ego may not be something you can get rid of entirely, but it is something you can recognize and control. Here are the 5 ways our ego can adversely impact our lives. Number 1, you know everything and that's why you don't listen to others. This happens when your ego makes you believe that you know everything and you're not interested in listening to others' opinions or recommendations. Even if you know a lot about a subject, not listening to others could result in possibly you developing a very narrow perspective on things. You also push others away by continuously reinforcing the notion that you know everything. Number 2, you're hooked on getting all the attention. Your ego is what makes you want all the attention, and you don't have time to consider that others around you may need some attention as well. People with misplaced egos can always talk about themselves and lose interest when others try and tell them something which is not related to them. Does that remind you of someone you know? In my experience, I've known quite a few like that. This can often lead to others moving away, as no one wants to hang around people that are self-obsessed. Number 3, you could end up with depression. People with ego issues often end up with depression because they set very high expectations of themselves and also on others. They expect others to like them, praise them all the time, but when this doesn't happen, it could lead them to becoming depressed. They also end up with no real friends around them and no one to share things with. And over time, that can bring sadness and depression to a person. Number 4, you are often lonely and find it hard to make true friends. This is easy to understand because people with too much ego are all about themselves, and it makes it impossible for them to hang out with true friends that they can have a deeper connection with. Having too much ego results in you always thinking about yourself, and you fail to listen to the people around you and don't focus on what is going on with them. Who wants a friend like that who is not interested in them? So sooner or later, people around you will realize you are all about yourself and they will move on. Number 5, you often get burnt out because you try and control everything around you. Now, this can be a real problem because your ego can leave you exhausted trying to control everything that from start to finish because you think no one can do it better than you can. This doesn't leave much time for actually living life to the fullest and having fun. They exhaust themselves trying to get everything done as per their expectations and even try to manage how others act in the process. There are healthier and more empowering ways to spend your life and make the most of your time. I've only mentioned the 5 most common effects that I have personally come across that people with too much ego suffer. There are several other negative impacts of too much ego in our lives, and the bottom line is, if you have too much ego, it can have a self-destructive impact on your well-being. As you know, I will bring whatever information I believe will help you all, so I thought I must discuss ego as it's one of the most common reasons why relationships end, divorces happen, and people lose friendships. Too much ego is destructive and we need to let go of it. Often we are unaware of how we behave, and understanding this topic can have a profound impact on your life. It's time to reflect and to see if at times you let your ego get the better of you. In the next part of the video, we will look at the steps we can take to let go of your ego. Until next time, stay safe and stay blessed. Also, I have included a free copy of my step-by-step guide on how to attract the things that you want in your life in the video description below. In this guide, I take you through the whole process step by step with detailed actions you need to take. Make sure you get a copy and start attracting the things you want in your life today. To get your copy, click on the link in the video description below.